From LaGuardia High School, Music, Art, and Performing Arts, the high school LaGuardia, right, high school LaGuardia, we all know it. He teaches earth science, and he spent time with the Peace Corps in South Africa. It's his third year here at MFA. Derek Dubossi.
Thank you so much. I just want to start off by saying that this master teacher thing is no joke. I'm very humbled by the presentations that I've heard tonight, so thank you so much. I'm going to start off by taking you back to 1994. I need a clicker. And how do I get the, yeah. So in 1994, I faced a very important, major decision in my life. You see, I was invited to be a part of something pretty spectacular, downright terrifying, and life-changing. It was MTV's The Real World. I'm totally kidding. It was just the SAT. You know when you get that slip in the paper that says be at First Colonial at 8 o'clock on Saturday? Now, I was really nervous about this because where I was going to school depended upon how I did. I had some anxiety around the test, and I spent weeks locked up in the library in my bedroom studying alone for this. Now, fortunately for me, I did well enough that I could get into my top choice school. Go Boilermakers. But when I look back at this, I recognize what I experienced was what we as educators call a high-stakes test. Now, high-stakes tests are all around us. Math teachers, we have the Common Core. Science teachers, we have the Regents exam. And in many cases, these things can be a good thing for us, right? They motivate our students to do well for their transcripts, and they motivate us to stay on pace with our scope and sequence, right? But for me, far too often, I would focus on this high-stakes test at the end. And then I started to see some of the behaviors I exhibited in 1994. My students, nervous, taking a test all by themselves where there was a right or wrong answer. And that didn't seem right to me. Now, what was I looking for from my students? Well, to illustrate this point, I'm going to share a personal story with you. In October of 2014, there was a lot of anticipation around the Pope's visit to the United States. And as a gay Catholic, I had some real big concerns about how the hierarchy in the church were treating my fringe group. And I wasn't alone. You see, there was a group of other gay Catholics who felt similar. We were motivated for a change. So we discussed a call to action. We decided to collaborate on a video project that documented the lives of 10 LGBT members. We were fortunate that in May of 2015, this video was in the hands of the Pope himself. And we encouraged dialogue by receiving some publicity from CBS and Fox. So it was a pretty impressive period of time for me. Now, what I gleaned from this, what I saw from this, is that we were excited. We had teamwork, and we collaborated based on a motivation that came from within. So the question becomes, how can I do this for my students in the confines of a science or a math class? Well, every May, I'm tempted to just have a month-long environmental film festival. I'm exhausted, and we've got plenty of films to choose from, right? But not a great idea when you still can be observed, right? So this one year, I asked my student, Liz, how do you want to spend your final weeks of your senior year? And to my surprise, she said, I really want to debate controversial environmental science topics. Okay, Liz, but what could possibly be controversial in environmental science, right? Well, she went on to tell me about this New York Times article she had read about how President Obama was facing this big decision on the Keystone XL pipeline. She identified these stakeholders, like the Nebraska Farmers Union, that were worried about contaminated groundwater. She identified the Sioux tribe that was worried about this pipeline traversing their sacred land. And then on the other side of the coin, she identified the pipe fitters union that was lauding this as a boost for job creation, and the American Petroleum Institute that said that this was a wonderful opportunity to gain energy independence. It was a real tough decision that President Obama was facing. So what we decided to do together was to come up with 6 stakeholders. Then I presented to the students and let them choose their top 3. That way we could have like equal distribution of stakeholders when it came time to form teams. And form teams they did. They went ahead and they researched fossil fuel extraction up in Canada and North Dakota, refinement processes downstream in Texas. They looked at case studies on oil spills. They looked at economic projections and even geopolitics. They learned a lot of content here. And here's the real kicker. I required them to actually call, interview those stakeholder members that they were representing. Yes, I let them use their cell phone in the middle of the school day, but it was for educational purposes. You see, this time the invitation to be part of the real world was in fact true. Now, in the end, some students changed their opinion on the pipeline. Other students kept their own opinion, but had an open mind why someone else would think differently than them. In front of a panel of 5 student judges, 3 classes voted against the pipeline. No big shocker in an environmental class, right? But 2 of them voted for the pipeline, which speaks to the power of persuasion, right? I recognize I did this in the month of May and June when I didn't feel the shackles of that high-stakes test. And I saw those things I was looking for. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Up until the point of intermission, I had no idea how I was going to end this. But Marvin, thank you so much. You have shown me the way. This is what I know. This is what I don't know. How do you get this high-stakes test, this high-stakes call to action to fit in the confines of preparing our students for a high-stakes test? So if this sounds like a bridge to inquiry, it is. If it sounds like a solicitation for maybe a spring PLT, maybe it is. In any case, I just want to thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate it.